Make him stay up all night thinking about you. Ladies, let's talk real for a second. You want to know the secret to making a man lie in bed, staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., wondering what you're doing, what you're thinking, and when he gets to see you again. It's not about playing games. It's not about sending selfies every 2 hours. And it's definitely not about trying to prove your worth to him. It's about one thing: leaving an emotional fingerprint he can't wipe off. When you're fully present, confident in your own skin, and speak like someone who doesn't need him, but would choose him. He notices it's rare, and rare is what he'll stay up thinking about. Ask great questions. Be curious about his passions. Make him feel seen. But don't overshare your whole life story like you're on a first date TD talk. Leave space for mystery. Don't chase, don't convince. Instead, show him you have a life so full that inviting him into it would be a privilege, not a rescue mission. You don't get remembered for being available 24/7. You get remembered for making someone feel something exceptional in the space between your presence. If you want to keep a man up all night thinking about you, be the kind of woman who's unforgettable, not because you were trying to be, but because you already are. Attraction might catch his eye, but emotional impact is what lingers in his mind. If you want to be the woman he can't stop thinking about, the one who disrupts his usual patterns and makes him pause at random moments throughout his day just to wonder what you're up to, you have to go deeper than surface-level charm. Physical attraction fades the moment he walks away. Emotional impact, that stays with him long after you're gone. You create emotional impact when you give him experience, not just a conversation. Think about it. Anyone can compliment his looks, laugh at his jokes, or nod along to whatever story he's telling, but not everyone will see him. Not everyone will be curious enough to ask the questions that show she's paying attention. When you respond to what he's saying with genuine curiosity, when you catch subtle details and reflect them back to him, not to flatter but to connect, you become unforgettable. It's not about performing, it's about being fully present. When you're with him, don't be scrolling through your mental checklist of what should I say next to sound cool. Just listen. When a man feels heard, not just acknowledged, that's when he starts thinking, this woman is different. That difference is emotional impact. It's the quiet power of someone who's grounded, aware, and emotionally intelligent. You create impact by holding space for emotion without trying to fix, rescue, or impress. If he opens up about something personal, don't rush to relate it back to your own experience. Let him stay in his. Let him feel seen, supported, and safe. That alone is so rare it feels magnetic. But here's the twist. Emotional impact is a two-way street. It's not just about how you make him feel, it's also about the impression you leave by how you show up. Are you being real, or are you editing yourself in real time to be more likable? If he senses you're always performing, he might be momentarily entertained, but he won't be affected. A woman who is unapologetically herself, who shares her thoughts and boundaries with grace, creates far more impact than someone who's just trying to be agreeable. Men don't stay up thinking about women who just check boxes. They stay up thinking about women who made them feel something. Surprise, connection, curiosity, comfort, challenge. Those moments when you said something that made him pause and reevaluate a belief, or shared a story that stirred something in him, those are what come back to him in the quiet hours of the night. So if you're wondering how to truly stay on his mind, stop asking how to look perfect or text clever lines. Ask instead, did I make him feel something real? Did I show him something rare in a world full of predictable? That's what makes the memory of you impossible to shake. One of the most magnetic things you can offer someone is not your full story all at once, but the space that invites them to want to know more. Mystery isn't about playing hard to get or being cold. It's about understanding that your value isn't proven by how quickly or completely you open up. When you leave space, you create curiosity. You allow tension to build, and that tension is where desire lives. The modern dating world can feel rushed. Everyone's trying to get somewhere. Fast replies, fast labels, fast intimacy. But when something comes too easily, we don't value it the same way. When you meet someone and instantly pour out your life story, your fears, your past relationships, and your 5-year plan, you might feel like you're being real, but often What you're doing is taking away the opportunity for someone to earn that deeper access to you. Mystery doesn't mean being secretive or manipulative. It means revealing yourself in layers. It means letting someone experience you slowly over time. When a man leaves a conversation with you and realizes he doesn't know everything, but he wants to, he'll keep thinking about you. He'll wonder about your thoughts, your values, your stories, your life. And that wondering, that's what keeps him up at night. You don't need to withhold out of fear. You withhold out of self-respect. You understand that your story is not something you offer just to fill silence. It's something you share when it feels meaningful, when trust is being built, when mutual effort is present. That makes your openness more valuable, not less. Mystery also comes from restraint. You don't always have to text back immediately. You don't have to announce every move you make or always explain yourself. Leave room for silence, for absence, for him to feel the difference between when you're there and when you're not. That gap creates intrigue, and people don't crave what's constantly available. They crave what they can't quite figure out yet. The truth is, we're more interested in people who are clearly interested in their own lives. When you're passionate about something, your work, your goals, your creativity, and you're not always available at the drop of a text, it signals that your world is already rich and full. That richness makes someone want to be a part of it, but it also keeps a part of you just out of reach, and that part becomes irresistible. Mystery isn't about being distant, it's about being deliberate. It's choosing to be intentional with your time, your words, and your energy. It's allowing someone to uncover you little by little, like a story worth reading slowly, not one that spoils the ending in the first chapter. And the more someone has to wonder, the more they become emotionally invested in the discovery. That's the power of space. That's the pull of mystery, and that's how you become unforgettable. One of the most attractive things about a person truly is seeing that they are already fulfilled, that they are not waiting for someone else to complete them, entertain them, or save them from their own boredom. When you have a life that's already full, you stop showing up to dating situations with hunger, and that alone shifts everything. People can feel it when you show up from a place of lack. There's a certain pressure in your energy, a subtle need to be chosen, a silent expectation that this new connection will somehow make your life more interesting or valuable. But when your life is already vibrant with purpose, passion, friendships, and experiences, you're not trying to fill a void. You're simply sharing what's already abundant. And here's what makes that powerful. When someone sees you living fully, laughing hard, chasing goals, doing what lights you up, they become curious. They don't just want to date you. They want to understand what fuels you. They want to be a part of your world, not because you made them feel needed, but because you made them feel inspired. Having a full life means you've built a foundation that doesn't rise or fall based on someone else's interest in you. You're not spiraling if someone doesn't text back right away, because your emotional well-being isn't dependent on their validation. That self-sufficiency is rare, and rare gets remembered. It also means that you don't just tolerate behavior that doesn't align with your standards. Because when your life is fulfilling, you're not afraid to walk away from something that doesn't match your energy or intentions. You know that peace is better than forced connection, that self-respect is more valuable than temporary attention, and it's not about pretending to be busy or filling your calendar with noise to look important. It's about being genuinely lit up by your own interests, whether that's your career, your fitness goals, your art, your friendships, or even just your morning routine. It all contributes to the message you send without even speaking. I like my life. I'm not here to be saved. I'm here to see if we fit. That energy is magnetic because you're no longer reaching, chasing, or trying to convince anyone of your worth. Instead, you're offering a seat at your table, and they'll have to rise to the level of what you've built to stay there. When someone sees that you have a full, rich, emotionally satisfying life, it challenges them in the best way. It makes them wonder what it would feel like to be invited into that space. It makes them want to be someone who adds to your world, not someone who tries to become your whole world. And that, right there, is the difference between someone you date casually and someone who stays up all night thinking about you. There's a huge difference between being present and being overavailable. Being present means that when you're with someone, you're engaged, grounded, and connected. You're not distracted, you're not rehearsing what to say next, and you're not shrinking yourself to please. You're showing up as your full self, and that's incredibly attractive, but being overavailable, that's when your energy starts to feel needy instead of natural. It's when you're always the first. Respond, always the one making plans, always rearranging your life to fit around his. And even though it may come from a good place trying to show interest, trying to build a connection, it often backfires. Why? Because it removes all sense of space and anticipation. People value what they have to earn, not what's handed to them without effort. When someone always knows they can have your time, your attention, your energy, without having to show up fully themselves, it changes the dynamic. You go from being a person of value to being a source of convenience. And convenience rarely keeps someone up at night wondering about you. Confidence doesn't come from proving yourself. It comes from knowing you don't have to. When you're rooted in your worth, you're not anxious about how fast someone replies or whether they're thinking about you constantly. You know that your presence is a gift and that you don't need to give it away freely just to stay on someone's radar. Being present is powerful because it creates emotional resonance. When you're talking to someone and truly listening, not just waiting to be heard, you leave a mark. When you laugh fully, speak honestly, and express your thoughts without trying to control how they'll be received, you become memorable. You create moments that feel alive, and those moments linger. But presence doesn't mean constant access. In fact, part of what makes your presence special is its contrast with your absence. When you give someone space to miss you, they begin to reflect. They remember the way you made them feel. Think about your smile, your energy, your words. That space gives your presence more weight. You don't have to be available every time your phone lights up. You don't need to explain your every move or constantly reassure someone of your interest. Healthy connection doesn't demand constant contact. It thrives on mutual desire, not pressure. So be the person who shows up with intention, not desperation. Let your confidence speak louder than your effort. Let someone earn their way into your life by matching your energy and your values. You don't need to be everywhere all the time. You just need to be fully you when it matters. When you master this balance, being deeply present when you're together and confidently detached when you're apart, you create tension, you create contrast, you create craving. And that's the kind of presence that stays with someone long after you've left the room. Seduction can get a lot of attention because it feels exciting, urgent, and often intoxicating. It's the spark, the chemistry, the playful teasing that makes your heart race and your pulse quicken. But what keeps someone thinking about you when the lights go out and the adrenaline fades? It's your standards, your boundaries, your self-respect, and the clarity of what you will and will not accept in a relationship. When you prioritize seduction over standards, you risk losing yourself in the moment. You might bend your boundaries, overlook red flags, or settle for less just to keep the chemistry alive. But that kind of connection is fragile. It's like a fire that burns bright but quickly runs out of fuel. It excites, but it rarely sustains. Standards are your foundation. They're the non-negotiables that protect your heart and your energy. When you have clear standards, you send a powerful message without saying a word. You know your worth, and you won't settle for anything less. That kind of confidence is magnetic in a way that pure seduction can never be. Rithing. When you have standards, you're not just a person to be won. You're a prize to be earned, and prizes are worth thinking about, worth working for, worth having standards means you don't tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or lack of effort. It means you expect honesty, kindness, and commitment. It means you don't chase after someone who isn't fully invested or who treats you like an option. When you hold firm to these boundaries, you're showing that you value yourself, and that is incredibly attractive. Men respect women who respect themselves. They don't want someone who's easy to have. They want someone who challenges them, who inspires them to be better, who won't just say yes to remembering long after the initial spark. It's important to remember that standards aren't about playing hard to get or being judgmental. They're about clarity and self-love. They're about knowing what you deserve and refusing to settle for anything less. When you live by your standards, you create a space where healthy, meaningful connections can flourish. Connections based on mutual respect and genuine desire. Seduction will get someone's attention, but standards will hold it. Chemistry might get a man in the door, but your standards will keep him thinking about you when he's alone. That's because standards create safety, trust, and admiration. 3 things that build real emotional connection. So if you want to be unforgettable, start by being clear on your standards. Don't lower them to keep someone interested. Instead, raise them to match the life you want to live and the love you deserve. When you do, you'll attract someone who's not just drawn to your allure, but committed to honoring the amazing woman you are. Thank you.